Good morning and TGIF. It's Friday, November 8th, 2019, and you're watching The Daily Mix TV. Hi, my name is Sean Patrick Hillman. Gap Chief Art Peck is stepping down effective immediately from the retailer after a really challenging quarter. Peck, who will also leave the company's board, became CEO back in 2015 after joining the chain about a decade earlier. Now, Peck's departure comes as Gap is readying to spin off Old Navy, which is Gap Incorporated's cash cow. The issue for them right now is the brand that was started in '69, Gap itself, the store and all of their products, unfortunately has had just such a roller coaster decade, and unfortunately most of it on the downhill. Now, the company also cut its full-year earnings forecast, blaming slower traffic and operational challenges. Now, it does appear that Robert Fisher, who's the non-executive chairman of the company, will serve as interim chief. Here's the deal, and it's very simple. All you really want out of a situation like this is for the brand to sustain. Unfortunately, that's not what's happening. What's happening is Gap is going down while their other holding, Old Navy, goes up. And, I have a feeling that we're looking at potentially the end of an iconic American brand. Sears will close about 96 more doors beginning next month, despite a $250 million lifeline from lenders, according to a report from Reuters. Citing anonymous sources, they've stated that the new loan increases the $150 million Sears raised several weeks ago. Now, Eddie Lampert, the billionaire owner, along with his hedge fund, has contributed, quote, a significant portion to the new round of financing. Don't forget, folks, Eddie Lampert is the reason why Sears is in the trouble it's in, and the same for its other holding, Kmart. At the end of the day, he failed to evolve the chain, and now they're suffering the consequences severely. This closure will leave the beleaguered retailer with 182 locations, down from 425 doors, after Lampert rescued Sears from bankruptcy in a $5.2 billion deal earlier this year. So they've pared back the company severely, and they've sold off holdings like Craftsman and Die Hard and those kinds of things. I have a feeling, unfortunately, yet again, this is deja vu, we're going to start to see the end of that iconic American brand. Looks like former Uber con artist, CEO Travis Kalanick, is up to yet another con. Kalanick's CloudKitchens has, quote, quietly raised $400 million from Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund. Now, they were one of the largest backers for Uber. This values CloudKitchens, which is a bet on the food delivery boomlet, at about $5 billion. This is what makes me crazy about Kalanick, and it's exactly the same formula he used to start Uber. It's blowing up the valuation to make it appear that it's worth more than it actually is. So CloudKitchens builds ghost kitchens in cities downtown that serve only the purpose of making food for delivery services. So when you go on to Grubhub or Seamless or Uber Eats, even DoorDash, you're going to see names of restaurants that don't actually have a physical storefront. All they are positioned as a ghost kitchen to create a brand to get food out the door to drive up revenue at lower cost. From a business perspective, that makes sense, but it's starting to hurt the mom and pop shops, which is the majority of restaurants are small businesses. So it really concerns us that at the end of the day, when you're looking at something like ghost kitchens and what that means, it's going to end up hurting New York restaurants even more. Coca Cola is having an aha moment. The beverage company's latest offering, AHA, which is a flavored seltzer, is set to go on sale in the U.S. in March with 8 flavors, including 2 that contain caffeine. Remember, Coke's original flavored seltzer line, Dasani Sparkling, did launch 5 years ago in 2014. They scrapped it this year in favor of this new brand, AHA. Now, the market leader for seltzer, LaCroix, is having some serious problems. They had a massive meteoric rise. Then all of a sudden, everybody started launching seltzer options as consumers wanted to switch from soft drinks like Coca Cola to healthier options. Here's the deal with this. They're chasing a trend, and it's a trend that's going to disappear very quickly if history is any indication. We went through the club soda craze in the 90s. You've got hard seltzers out now. You're dealing with flavored seltzers as people pivot off of Coca Cola or other cola brands. In the 90s, you had the switch from soft drinks to iced teas. And this is no different than that time period. But how often do you hear somebody talking about Snapple or Arizona iced tea these days versus Coca-Cola and Pepsi, which are still very much part of the lexicon? So it's going to be interesting to see how Coca-Cola deals with this. And frankly, given Pepsi's involvement in terms of SodaStream, it's going to be interesting to see how the two of them go head to head. As usual, it's Coke versus Pepsi. Now, despite the proliferation of digital banking, financial service companies are in a race to save their physical brick and mortar locations. Thousands of these outlets have shuttered, but customers still demand the option of banking in person. So banks are looking at new retail spaces and new designs and new options that offer a friendlier, more human touch. So as an example, Capital One has happy hours at its banking cafes, which is really cool. PNC Bank staffers attend community events to invite people to their solution centers, which help people through financial problems. Now, early results are promising, but the question really is it enough to save brick and mortar banks? Folks, everything in business is cyclical. So this is no different than the mid-'80s, after Black Monday in 87, when branches started closing left and right. Remember, from the mid-'70s to the mid-'80s, you had this massive explosion where a branch was opening on almost every corner in Manhattan. So now you've got them closing because, frankly, the rents are just too damn high. So you know things are bad when even a bank can't afford a rent in a city like New York. But the idea of pivoting and being able to look at a new way to approach consumers is very important. And, when you look at Citibank, they do a great job of innovating, whereas Chase is a dinosaur, and frankly, they're really not that good a bank. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with in major metros with these corner branches and how basically the financial industry reacts to all of the closings. With Thanksgiving fast approaching, Pringles is at it once again for their holiday kit, but this time they've got an added twist. New to the limited offering is the Turducken Stack, which is comprised of turkey, chicken, and duck-flavored chips, or crisps, as they call them, depending on which side of the pond you hail from. In addition, the kit also includes cranberry sauce, stuffing, and pumpkin pie-flavored crisps that are packed in a special tray to help celebrate Thanksgiving, or Friendsgiving, as the company has called it. Quote, "We pride ourselves on offering consumers insanely accurate flavors with endless stacking possibilities. For our third year, we created the perfect kit for those who are infatuated with the Thanksgiving meat masterpiece that is the almighty turducken, as well as anyone looking to enjoy a new take on a Friendsgiving feast." And that's Gareth McGuire, who's the Senior Director of Marketing at Pringles. Those interested in purchasing the kit, the suggested retail is about $16, and you can do it on the company's website, which started yesterday. Now, quick personal note. You all know how much I love Elvis Duran in the Morning Show. Elvis is a board member of Rock Rawhide. I've known him for a very long time, and I'm friends with a lot of the folks on his show. Well, Danielle Monaro, I am so sorry to hear about the passing of your father. We love you. May he rest in peace. All right, for this week's Flashback Friday, this holiday hit debuted 16 years ago yesterday.
You're not an elf.
Now, he's taking a journey to find the family he's never known in a place where he finally fits in. Boy. And nothing's going to stop him.
Sorry, your car's pretty.
Will Ferrell is Elf.
Elf, starring Will Ferrell and James Caan, grossed over $220 million at the box office. It has since become a holiday staple. Lord knows in our house it's played every year, as it's one of my wife Kylie's favorite movies. Also, for a quick Flashback Friday, 8 years ago today, this showed up in Times Square. That's right, the launch of Rock Rawhide. All right, folks, have a great weekend. My name is Sean Patrick Hillman. I'm the editor-in-chief of the Daily Mix TV. If you have any questions, comments, or story ideas, please email thedailymixtv@gmail.com. Have a great weekend, folks. We'll see you on Monday.